Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another video. So, I haven't posted anything in a long time, and I thought I'd come back with a tutorial on how to make plugins for Minecraft servers running Spigot. Because, it's a sought after thing. A lot of people want to learn how to develop plugins. I did, which is why I learned how to do it. And it's a lot of fun, actually, when you can do this stuff and you can code things that change how the game works. It's pretty cool. When you have something that works, it feels pretty rewarding to be able to use that in your game. So this is more of a basic introduction. We're gonna start off with just sort of exploring some basic things you can do in a plugin, and we're gonna show you how to set up a project, and eventually we're gonna get into building a somewhat more complicated plugin. We're gonna build. It's not going to be super complicated, like one of the ones I've just recently started helping out as a developer with. Won't name it for now, but perhaps later. But it will be. We'll do something interesting that will be. Hopefully, I don't actually know what it's going to be yet, but it'll hopefully be good. But anyway, what you're going to need for this is just IntelliJ, IntelliJ IDEA. I have the community edition because it's a free one. You just go here to techbrains.com/IDEA/download. I'll put a link to that in the description for you to download. And go with the community edition because it is free. And if you want to use Ultimate, you can download a free trial. It has some extra things. A couple other things you can work within it, like JavaScript and TypeScript. A few other things. There's some database working tools, and a few other things that the free open source one doesn't have. But the free open source one, the community edition, is good enough. And then if you don't already, you're gonna need actually to go to let's Google it because I forgot to pull up this thing. But you're gonna need to go to this page right here. The Oracle page to download the JDK. I would recommend downloading the Java SE development kit for version 8, it's right here at the top of this page actually, which I'll put in the description. You'll find out when you click on the version of it that it brings you to you click the license agreement. It brings you to a login page. You do need to create an Oracle account now to download it. It's pretty quick, as long as you can access your email. So I'll put that in the description as well, so you can download those two things in case you don't have them. But if you are downloading the JDK for the first time and you've never touched Java code before, I would recommend actually learning how to code in Java first. I will be eventually uploading a basic Java tutorial, perhaps in the midst of making this one, and you can watch that if you would like, to learn the basics of Java before you get into developing a plugin, because developing a plugin does use some somewhat more advanced parts of Java. It uses a little bit beyond the basics. The listeners and such are not entirely basic, but it's not that much, not far beyond the Java basics. It's a good place to go first after you learn the Java basics, I think, before you get into something like Android app development or something, or iOS app development, or whatever you choose to get into. If iOS app development can even use Java, I don't know. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and get in. So I have a fresh install of an IntelliJ here, so I can show you the setup that I usually use when I reuse the program. And it's the one that my professors at school actually recommended for us as well. So it's a good setup to use. It's not complicated or anything. It's pretty easy to set it up, actually. So if this would launch, there we go. I'm greeted with this nice little splash screen. Doesn't matter which version of IntelliJ you have. I have the 2019.1 community version. That's just what's currently out, so I use it. But we're going to go through a few things in this tonight when we go through all this, because there's a little more than just creating the project that you're going to need to do. So we're going to go over that. Oh, shoot. I don't know why it's launching this. I thought this was a fresh install. I guess I was wrong. Well, I guess this sort of spoils what project I was working on. Well, helping out with anyway. I played a very small role, and actually some of my work is not done yet, but I'm helping out with the 1.14 update for modern LWC. I'm hoping that I will be able to continue working with this because it's a good experience for me. But this is not what I wanted to be showing you guys. I am going to close this out because this isn't what I thought was going to be. I was expecting to get a blank page like you're going to be seeing. So when you first open it up, it's going to ask you in this little white box if you want to pull in previous settings. I believe by default it says no, set default to whatever. Just pick that option, and then when you're setting up the default plugins and stuff, I just basically select Darkula, and then skip remaining and set defaults is the option I go with, and then you will be greeted with this screen here, which is what anyway. So we are going to create a new project here, and actually, there's something I forgot to do. So we're going to go to configure, and we're going to go to plugins, and we're going to search in this Minecraft development by Demon Wave, whatever. You want to install this. Just press accept. There, it downloads it, installs. Press OK. It is going to ask you to restart your IDE. You're going to want to do that so that it updates with all the plugin and stuff. So it's going to just load up real quick for me. That startup splash, I believe. Okay, now we're going to create a new project. And you will see in the list here, Minecraft. So we're going to click that. You'll see all the different options we have. There's options for Spigot plugin, Bucket plugin, a Spigot plugin, a Paper plugin, a Sponge plugin, a Forge mod if you want to get into modding. I actually haven't gotten into that yet, but after I have and have had enough experience with it, I might do some tutorials on modding in Minecraft as well. But that is for a later date. And then there's Light Loader mod as well, Bungee cord plugins, and waterfall plugins. So we're going to go with the Spigot plugin. Just go next. So the group ID, this is essentially the package name. So if you have a website, you would usually want to do something like the extension dot the website URL name dot the project name. So if I'm creating a plugin called tutorial stuffs, the group ID is, so for my website, I have a website, so I would use my website. But if you don't have a website, you would do like I mentioned, you would just do for group ID, you would just type in me. If you don't have a website, but I do, so I would type in my website as net.wispwriting. And then the artifact ID is going to be the name of the class. So we'll call the artifact tutorial plugin. And the version, we'll leave it as 1.0 snapshot. We'll get to changing that later. We're going to press next. So we're brought to this page. This is a list of the currently supported Minecraft versions by this. If you wish to create a plugin for an earlier version of Minecraft, I will show you how to change the API version that you are using in the settings once we've created the project, if you wish to do that. But for now, just select the latest, which is 1.13.2. And you need to create a description of the plugin. So an example plugin for YouTube. And I will be putting the code for this up on GitHub, so if you wish to review that or follow along using that, look at that while I go, feel free to do that. You can even borrow that code and play around with it if you wish. Just please don't publish it or something, like use it as your own on this Spigot website because it is not your own, and this isn't going to be published anyway. It's just an example plugin. So the authors, for me, it would be Wisp, and website, wispwriting.net. And the logo prefix, or log prefix rather, this is what shows in the console when your plugin is loading up. So like if you have ever used Essentials, or WorldGuard or World Edit, when you load up, you'll notice that it says like the name World Edit or Essentials in brackets, and then loading Essentials version 2.5 or something. That word in brackets is what goes in here, this logo prefix section. So I'm gonna call this just tutopl. We don't need to worry about any of those things. We're not going to be worrying about any dependencies or anything to load before the plugin loads. I'm going to go ahead and press next then. And we just need to change or name the project. So I'm going to call this tutorial plugin. As you can see, it's on my G drive, which is an external hard drive that I have. I just like to keep all of my projects on that, so if I want to access them on any computer, I can. You can store them wherever you want. You just press the 3 dots to change the file location, and then we just press finish. And it says that the directory does not exist and will be created. You just press OK, and it will create the project. Now, we need to do a couple configuration things before we get started. Okay, so we have our main class. You're going to see here that for me it says module SDK is not defined. This is an issue that I've been having with my computer. If you says it, just press the button that says setup SDK and just choose your version of the Java JDK and press OK. And okay, let's try the other one. This one. There we go. There, and that should go away. That's just because it doesn't know where your version of Java is. That shouldn't take you long to set up. As you can see, it was loading up the dependencies, and now it's indexing, so it's just making sure all the files are here. So as you can see, we have all of the Maven dependencies, including the Maven Spigot API 1.13.2. So now we have the project created, but we're not finished configuring this for actually testing it. There's a few things we want to do. So first, we're going to select the project folder, and we're going to press F4 on the keyboard. And we're going to go ahead to artifacts and press add and jar and empty. And we're going to rename this so it matches the main class, which for me is tutorial plugin. So I would type in tutorial plugin here, and then I'm going to include in project build, and this here which says compile output, just double click that so it's over to there and press apply. There's actually one thing we're going to change in here in a moment, but we haven't gotten to that step yet. So we're going to go ahead and press OK there and just change this a little bit. Now we're going to go to our folder where we are going to create a testing server to test this stuff on. So I have a folder here with all my testing servers. As you can see, I have 1.14, 1.13, and build is where the build tools.jar is. So you need to go to this Spigot website and download the build tools.jar. I'll put a link to that in the description. But you just go to or not that. You go to spigotmc.org and you go to downloads and then just Spigot/build tools, and you will see this. You just click on build tools.jar, download that, and then you can build plugins from there. I'm gonna read that later. Update about the Spigot version. So then you would put, like, I have my build tools in a folder here, and you would just, on Windows you can run that bat, or you can do this in the command line. You would just navigate to this folder and type in the following commands. You would just type in java-xmx 1024 which is 1 gigabyte. So you could also type in -xmx1g -jar buildtools.jar, and then you don't need this if you just want to build 1.13.2. If you add this, you'll get a build of the 1.14, which is currently in development. If 1.14 is out, then you'll just get this by default. And you just type in pause in case an error happens, so you can see what the error was. Then you just run the build.bat, or if you're running this from the command line, you don't have to add in pause or anything, and it will just still show you the errors. It won't close out of the console. And you just double click this, and it will begin to build you a Spigot version, like the ones that I have here. Just delete that. Shoot. I didn't want to create a shortcut to it. No. Oh my gosh. Did that twice. Pardon me. So once you have your version of Spigot, you want to create a folder. So I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call this testing or tutorial, and I'm going to be developing 1.13 for this tutorial. So I'm just going to copy over this. And then we want to just run it so we can agree to the EULA. So I'm going to open a PowerShell window here to do that. It takes a moment for PowerShell to load up. I don't know why this window is so massive. I don't like it being that big. Okay, fine. I'll leave it big then, I guess. So we're just gonna do java -jar spigot -1.13.2 .jar. We press enter. It's going to tell me that it's out of date because it is out of date. There is there might be an official 1.14 version out. I actually don't know. I haven't run the build tools on just the current version yet. I'll have to do that at some point, but give it 20 seconds, this will start up. Yep, so as you can see, it says loading libraries, and in a moment it's going to begin preparing everything, and then it's going to immediately stop because we have to agree to the EULA. As you can see, it has already stopped. So we're going to go ahead and open the EULA.txt and open this with Notepad. I don't know why Illustrator comes up. Illustrator does not edit text documents. Just write true there. Save that. Now we don't need this anymore for now. But actually we do need to create the plugins folder. So because we're not running it yet, it would create it automatically, but it's not there. So I'm just gonna do plugins, and now we can go back to here, go back to the artifact page here, and change the output directory here. So instead of tutorial plugin, it's going to be testing servers tutorial plugins. It's going to be the folder. And now we need to configure the execution environment for when we actually test the plugin. So we're going to press the add configuration button there, and we're going to press the plus button up here and go to jar application. And we'll just call this Spigot, and we're going to grab the path to the jar. So as actually this one right here, I'll open it up for me, which is in tutorial Spigot 1.13.2. And now we need the working directory is in testing servers tutorial. Working directory is the same directory that your spigot.jar is in, and we can just press apply there and press OK. And now the project is set up and we're ready to begin working. But if you wanted to use a different version, like let's say you want to develop for 1.14 instead of 1.13, what you would do is you would go to File, and you would go to Project Structure, which is the same thing as pressing F4 when you have the plugin folder selected, and you would go to Libraries, and you would press the Add button here, you would press Java, and then you would find the .jar for the version you want to use. So if I wanted to use 1.14 for this instead, I'd go to my 1.14 folder, grab this 1.14.jar, and press OK, and then I would remove this 1.13 this 1.13 thing. I'm not going to remove it. Then you would press apply and press OK, and it's going to begin doing this. And basically, it's going to get the dependencies for 1.14 so that they can be used. So now, like if I was going to use the Fox for some reason, material.fox does exist. If I import that, that's weird. Okay, so if I wanted to use 1.14, I guess I would need to get rid of this. So we would delete the 1.13 entry and press apply. And then it should work. Okay. Oh. Right, because entities are not materials. So it actually was working the first time. I'm just gonna undo. Okay. Now I gotta fix this, but that would be how you would change the so I'm gonna get rid of that and go ahead and add 1.13 back in, because that's what we're gonna work with. Just do that. Okay, and apply, and okay. Okay, so now your project is built and you're ready to begin actually getting into the coding. So I will be doing that. I will get into that in the next part, because this is now 22 minutes long, and I don't want to take up all of your time. So I hope to see you back in the next part.